Toni Dolan.
Toni, what was your first connection to MCC?
Way back in the old days, around 1988, 89, I believe it was, then Congresswoman Barbara Kennelly called. I had been working on her campaign for several years, and she had called and asked if I would be interested in an appointment to the Regional Advisory Council for Manchester Community College. And of course I said yes. Don't say no to the Congresswoman. But I wasn't real clear on what the regional advisory role was, but I was very interested in becoming involved with the college because it was, quite frankly, in very close proximity to my home, and I had only had a very brief relationship with the college years before that when I took a course at Manchester High School in those days. So I met with Dr. Dowby, who was then a relatively new president of the college, and we chatted, and I became involved on the Regional Advisory Council at that point. In about 6 months or so later, I became co-chair along with Tom Sheridan. So that was my first involvement with the college, and then after a few years of realizing the potential out here, I decided to take the plunge and become a student, a very adult student, but a student. And, through that relationship, I learned kind of both sides of the college, from a student's perspective and from the other community's perspective. So the idea behind the Regional Advisory Council is obviously to bring together community leaders from the area towns which the college serves, and to kind of make us ambassadors that back out into the community, but also, to play a role here when we can on other issues that are presented to the college, such as budgetary issues with the legislature and things like that. So from that perspective, it's not a great demand on your time. But at the same time, we do, I think, hopefully play a very key role. And we also serve, really, as it says, the president's advisors, on anything he or she wants to bring to us, and hopefully we can provide that kind of, the group expertise, so to speak. So my perspective as a student was very different, however. So
let's hold off on the student part for a moment. Mm-hmm. And can I ask you some of the issues you were involved with when you were on the regional advisory?
Sure. A lot of, over the years, 2 or 3 times, of course, the issue of the reorganization of the community college system was brought up. In the past, we, as a group, advocated very strongly against that reorganization. One of them was the merger of the community technical colleges, of course, and at that one point, that did happen briefly. So I guess you could say our advocacy didn't work in that case, but then turned around that we did, prevail in terms of what the mission of the community college versus the technical colleges, the differences between the two, and the difference between the two missions. The most recent one, again, we did advocate against that. Many of us testified before the legislature, but it appears that's going to happen. So those particular issues I remember very vividly, and other things like the budget, when there've been proposed budget cuts and things along those lines. The other roles that we've played as serving on different committees of the college, like accreditation. I've served on accreditation, I served on reaccreditation, 2 accreditation committees and 1 reaccreditation. And I've also, was involved peripherally, obviously, on some of the building projects as well. We were brought in, we were always given the updates by Tom Bevere, and we were given a chance to give our input on different aspects of the proposed, at that time, new buildings. Now they're not so new anymore, but that was that was an exciting time.
How does it feel to be in one of the new buildings that you were involved with the planning?
I think, of course, when I came here, which is several years after some other people that are still here have experienced, going to school, going down and having those, the lower campus being the supposed temporary buildings, and seeing those torn down and the new buildings come to fruition. It's very exciting. I think, it brings a different dynamic to this college. It's exciting to be here, and, having the middle college high school here. It just makes this place all the more obviously visually appealing, but when you're inside, it's a totally different exciting dynamic, I think. So
what was it? So what helped you make your decision to become a student?
I think, when I first started to think about it, it really was hearing testimony from students that had been the beneficiary of a foundation scholarship, or it was hearing, their stories and hearing how proud they were of their accomplishments. And I'm thinking to myself, we educated our own two children, sent them through college, and I thought, well, why shouldn't I try? And I didn't want to say anything to anybody. I didn't tell anybody about it. I just decided to try, and took the required tests and the placement tests, and decided to plunge in. And once I started, I just grabbed hold, and I couldn't stop, because it's just the people who I had the benefit of some very good professors. Who, continue to motivate and inspire, and I just kept going until that great day when I graduated, and then went on to Trinity. So,
who were some of the more memorable professors whose courses you took?
I was writing them down today, and I'm going to be sorry, because I'm sure there are some that I'm forgetting, but I think Elaine Horn was Joan Paterna was another one. Joan inspired me to the point where I took more than one course from her. Dick Day was another one. Angela Musori was another one. And from a very kind of humorous perspective, if you want to call it that, it was Bob Richardson. I mean, one of the classes I enjoyed the most was public speaking with him, because he just made everything so enjoyable. So I think, some of those people are really the people that stand out in my mind as really fine professors. Another one that I know is a very good professor, but I never took a course, is, Mike DeRamo. Sorry. I know Mike, but I also I've had many, many different students come up and talk to me about their experience with him. And I never took a course with him, but he's another one. So, and then, from a faculty point of, from a staff point of view, Tom Bevere is just, you can't say enough about the man. What has happened on this campus would never have happened had it not been for his leadership. He was incredibly, I don't know how he did what he did, and Al Carter was another one. So I could go on and on, but I think the thing that I think makes MCC somewhat unique from other community colleges is the fact that we have such quality staff and professors, as faculty and staff, because we all know that some of them are well qualified enough to really teach anywhere, and they choose to be here mainly for the mission, and I think that makes them very special people.
Were there any unique challenges you faced coming back to school as a more mature individual?
The balancing of my professional life and my school. That's always the time management and making sure to devote enough time to all of them so that you don't lose any of them while you're trying to accomplish some other achievement in your life, but that's probably the biggest thing, I would say.
Do you think MCC prepared you for the studies at Trinity?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, it was interesting because my advisor, who ended up also being my major advisor, because I majored in psychology, she talked about the students coming from Manchester Community College that she had worked with, and she said that they are very well prepared. The thing they're very well prepared for is not just the academic aspect of it, but the caseload, the workload, how much more you're going to have when you reach a college like Trinity or some other institution like that is, everyone said here, if you think this workload is going to be tough, you have to think about when you go on to school, to another school, it's going to be even harder. And I think that was part of it.
Thinking back to your time here as a member of the Regional Advisory Council as well as a student, what are some of the things you're most proud of?
Some of the, I've been fortunate in that I've won a few awards. I was the recipient of the Board of Trustees Award one year at commencement. I've won the Distinguished Alumni Award, although I don't feel that distinguished among the group that I'm with, but those things always make you feel like at least, other people have recognized some of what you've hopefully accomplished. I think, just my affiliation with this college is something, when I decided a few years ago, when I took the plunge and went back to work full-time like I'm doing now, I looked at my life and said, some things have to go. And what are the important things in my life? And this was one that I knew I wanted to keep. I just feel like, that I can contribute out here, pay back a little bit what this college gave me. And I feel like playing somewhat of a role in being able to have input on some of the buildings, have input on the fact of, whether the middle college high school is going to be built here, because we didn't all agree on that. There were some that didn't agree and some that did. And so I think any input that we've been able to give as a group, but, my own role as one of the co-chairs and one of the leaders, I hope that we have, been able to give advice and assistance that is meaningful.
Is there anything else that you'd like to say or add to the conversation?
Just look. No, I think there are 2 or 3 people that didn't fit into the conversation that I consider kind of mentors to me, because when I came here, I really didn't have a whole lot of knowledge about the inner workings of a community college system, or how it worked and how the Board of Trustees related to the community college. So, I have to mention Eleanor Coltman. God love her. She was one of the finest people I've ever met in my life, never mind here at the institution. David Cannon, another wonderful member of the Board of Trustees. And, of course, Dr. Dobby. Dr. Dobby was really someone who really mentored me while I was here, both as a regional advisory council, but, not even so much as a student, but just giving me motivation and encouragement. So I think those people, are people that stand out in my mind as well.
Good. Anything else?
No, you've done a good job.
Wonderful. Very enlightening and succinct. Thank you.